Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Noble, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my Valkyrie+Darklord deck profile. So this is one I have been really wanting to make for a while now, and I've been testing the crap out of it. It was really challenging to get the ratios right on this because you need a certain number of cards with each, archetype to really make the engine work. So it's taken a while, but I think I finally got the ratios right. I've been testing it, like I said, a lot, and this particular one has been really consistent. It is a bigger deck. This is a 50 card deck. I didn't really want to, but I quickly realized that I was going to have to play a bigger build in order to make this work, and this has been a lot of fun. I have really enjoyed playing this. I've really loved it because I love Valkyries and I love Darklords. Like, being able to put them together is a whole lot of fun. But yeah, guys, without further ado, let's get into this. I will show you the Valkyrie package first. So to start off with, I'm playing Double Valkyrie Air Day. Now this is one that I had, but I know I'm saying it wrong. Like, I know I'm saying it wrong. But so this is one that I had actually bumped up. I was playing one originally, but basically every time I got this card out in the field, my opponent would try to out it, and a lot of times they would, and I would be wishing I had a second one, even in the Darklord build as well. So what Valkyrie Air Day does is probably the most powerful Valkyrie out there. You can only control one of her, and while you control this card, you can special summon by the effect of a Valkyrie card. Face-up monsters your opponent controls loses 1,000 attack, and that's really awesome. And also, any card drawn by battle or card effect that would be sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished. So kind of like a Darklord kind of effect, and that secondary effect where it just banishes anything that would go to their graveyard really hurts them, because the graveyard is really being a second hand these days. They're going to want to try and get rid of that, and then on top of the attack decrease for their monsters. Next up, also real quick, if you hear like a bunch of banging, it's not an earthquake, I promise. My nieces are here. They just don't know how to walk. They run everywhere. So that's what that is. I'm running one Brunhilde. I know I'm saying it wrong. But Brunhilde is really, really good. Basically, she's unaffected by your opponent's spell effects. She gains 500 attack for each monster your opponent controls. So she can get up there pretty quickly. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can have this card lose exactly 1,000 defense. And if you do that, your Valkyrie monsters cannot be destroyed by battle for the rest of this turn. And she has 2,000 defense, so you can do that twice, which is really helpful. I'm running a Valkyrie Sigrun, I believe is how you say it. At first I didn't run this, but then I quickly realized that this actually does have pretty good synergy with this deck, because we do play a good number of continuous spells, so you can actually get this out pretty easily. And then if this card is special summoned, is normal or special summoned at all, you can special summon a level 8 or lower Valkyrie monster from your hand or graveyard, which is really cool. This is not one that you have to play. If you'd rather get rid of this and kind of like go down a card, that's fine, but I've actually used it quite a bit, and I find it pretty good. I'm running triple Valkyrie Sext, I believe is how you say it, but I'd definitely say Seshte, especially if my niece is around right now. I'm not going to say that. But what this one does is, it's really pivotal to the Valkyrie engine, because if this card is special summoned, you can special summon a Valkyrie monster from your deck, except another copy of this card. And then during your main phase, you can set the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard, and you'll use each effect once per turn. But just being able to special summon the Valkyries from your deck, because you can special summon this card pretty easily, that is really good. I'm running a Futfe, or however you say it, but Valkyrie monsters you control gain 200 attack for each of your opponent's banished monsters. If you control a Valkyrie monster other than Valkyrie Futfe, you can send one spell and trap card from your deck to the graveyard. You'll use this effect once per turn. So that is really cool. And that's actually the reason I play this card, because just being able to Foolish Burial basically any spell and trap, even your Darklord spells and traps, because you want them in the graveyard, that is a really good effect. I'm running one Zoete. I'm laughing because I had someone get really mad at me in my last Valkyrie profile about how I was pronouncing these things. And like, if you've been watching my videos, you know I don't pronounce things right at all. So it's just funny to me. But if this card is summoned, you can target a monster your opponent controls, and you can pop it. And then after damage calculation, if this card battled, you can target one continuous spell in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, so that spell recursion is nice. And then I'm playing triple Valkyrie Drette. This one's really good because it's a level 4, but if this card is normal or special summon at all, you can add any Valkyrie card from your deck to your hand, which really helps with the consistency. Except another copy of this card, and you can only use this effect once per turn. It also gains 200 attack for each of your opponent's banished monsters. And then lastly, for the Valkyrie, well, I guess it's not really Valkyrie, but I'm running 2 Darklord Christia. This card's really great. It really locks down your opponent. If you have exactly 4 fairy type monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, which in this deck, I mean, that's super easy to do. And then when you do, you can target a fairy monster in your graveyard, add that target back to your hand. Neither player can special summon monsters, and that is what really locks down your opponent, because a lot of times you can just swarm the board, get out this card, and then you have a full board, your opponent can special summon. And then Darklord Christia has a big body at 2800 attack as well, and this face-up card would be sent from the field of the graveyard. It returns to the top of the deck instead. I did play this at 3 for a bit, but it just got a little bit too breaky. Honestly, I've played 2 for a long time, and I have never run into a problem with seeing this card. I don't know what it is, but I never run into a problem with seeing this card, so I haven't really ever felt the need for 3. Alright, so that's it for the Valkyrie package monsters. For the spells, I'm running double Ride of the Valkyries. This card is really, really important for this deck. I bumped it down from 3. 3 was actually, ironically, a little bit breaky because this card is searchable as well. But what Ride of the Valkyries does, you special summon any number of Valkyrie monsters, different names from your hand, and if you do that, if you special summon 3 or more with this effect, you take no battle damage to the end of the next turn. And then during the end phase of the turn you activate this card, you shuffle all the monsters into the deck. All the monsters you control into the deck, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard and add a Mission of the Time Goddess from your deck to your hand. And the really cool thing about this card, not only being able to literally swarm the board with your Valkyries, is that it doesn't have the restriction that except the turn this card was sent in the graveyard. So you can literally activate this card, get your Valkyries on the field, and then banish this from the graveyard to grab Mischief of the Time Goddess, which is really helpful. Which, speaking of which, I'm running double Mischief of the Time Goddess. I didn't want to maximize these because we run a big Darklord package as well, so 2 and 2 seem pretty good. Honestly, kind of thought about running Mischief of the Time Goddess down to 1. Still kind of considering that. But 2 and 2 is still pretty good at the moment. But this card is really unique. If you don't know what the card does, it's a quick play spell, but it has the effect that neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. So it is a spell speed 4. Cannot be activated as a chain link 2 or higher. At the end of your battle phase, if all monsters you control, Valkyrie monsters, minimum 1, send this card to the graveyard. Also, immediately after this effect resolves, skip the start of the battle phase of your next turn. Skip to the start of the battle phase of your next turn. And if you do, you can't activate Mission of the Time Goddess to the end of that turn. So the really cool thing is literally you can swarm the board if your Valkyries attack, and Ride the Valkyries would shuffle them back into the deck. But Mission of the Time Goddess completely circumvents that because it skips your end phase, so they stay on the board, and then you can attack again with basically a full Valkyrie board. And a lot of times that's an OTK. But do keep in mind that it does kind of restrictive to your Valkyries as well, because it has to be that if all monsters you control are Valkyries. So just keep that in mind. I'm running double Valhalla Hall of the Fallen because it's just a fairy deck, and this is fantastic. It's a continuous spell that once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can special summon a fairy monster from your hand. That's really, really good, especially in this deck. And then this is kind of a tech. I'm running a Sanctuary in the Sky. If you don't want to play this, you don't have to, but it is a field spell, and it just has a simple effect of battle damage to the controller of a fairy type monster. From a battle involving that fairy type monster becomes 0. So literally you don't take 80 battle damage from any of the monsters in our entire deck. Pretty much. That is really cool. If you don't want to play this, you don't have to. Alright, so that is it for the Valkyrie package. Let's get into the Darklord package. So I'm running 1 Morningstar. Any more than 1 Morningstar in this deck, and this particular build is just pretty bricky. I did try it. Trust me, I tried it at 2. But Morningstar is just a big boss monster, and like you just don't really need more than 1 of him, at least in my experience. I'm running triple Darklord Extial. This is the built-in draw engine of the Darklord deck. So with Darklord Extial, we're number 1 what all Darklords do except Morningstar and Superbia. Is that they have the effect that you can pay 1,000 life points, and it's a quick effect as well. And then you can target a Darklord card, spell a trap card in your graveyard, and apply that target's effect, and then shuffle that target back into the deck. So that's why you want your Darklord spells and traps in the graveyard, because literally they're alive even in the graveyard. But what she does is you can discard this card and 1 Darklord card, and you can draw 2. And then, like I said, she has a quick effect where you can pay 1,000 and then apply a spell trap from the graveyard. I'm running triple Darklord Superbia. Superbia is really important because he has a really cool effect to where if this card is special summoned, when this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target a fairy monster in your graveyard and special summon it So that's really cool because it can also special summon back our Valkyries as well, because it's not restricted to Darklords. I'm running double Nastin. I really like Nastin. Not playing him at 3 just hurts my heart, but it's not a good idea to play him at 3 in this particular build. You can discard 2 other Darklord cards, special summon this card from your hand, and then he has the quick effect where you can apply a spell or trap from the graveyard as well by paying 1,000. I'm running double Capricious Darklord. This one's cool because it's a level 4. It's the kind of newer level 4 Darklord monster. During the main phase, quick effect, you can activate this effect. Tribute summon 1 fairy monster face up. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can make all monsters your opponent currently controls lose a 500 attack and defense for each fairy monster on the field, which can be a lot really quickly until the end of this turn. If you wanted to bump this one down, that's fine, but a few times I kind of wish I'd played 2, and then after playing 2, I've been pretty happy with it. I'm running 1 Ukobak. Ukobak on summon is a Foolish Burial. Basically, when he's normal special summon, you can send 1 Darklord card from your deck to the graveyard, and the cool thing about that is it can even be a spell or trap if you wanted it to. So that's it for the monsters. I'll play a massive Darklord monster package, but it has been pretty optimal in my testing. So for the spells, we're running triple Banishment of the Darklords. What this one does is you literally just grab any Darklord card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. That's what this card does. That's literally it. And it's just a hard once per turn. So this is a really fantastic card. It helps out with the consistency. I'm also running triple Darklord Contact. Though this one does is it special summons a Darklord monster from your graveyard in defense position, and a lot of times you're going to want to be targeting your Superbia, so you can get an additional special summon from the graveyard, and maybe get out like Brunhilde or something like that as well. I'm also running triple Foolish Burial Goods. This card is fantastic, not only in the Darklords, but because it can also throw your Wrath of Valkyries into the graveyard, and you can go ahead and just banish that if you want to go ahead and grab Bishop of the Time Goddess as well. So this card is really good. I'm also running double Darklord Uprising just to be able to go into our first Darklord, and then also because this is a bigger build, but it does work because we are running a little bit of a draw engine as well. I'm running triple Trade-In. I believe you have 7 targets. Might be 8, but I think it's 7 targets for this. Trade-In just really helps. A lot of times if you want to throw your Superbia into the graveyard and then draw 2 off of that, that's just a win-win. And then, opening with multiple of these, there's a good chance you're going to have more than 1 level 8 in your hand. They're all live. And then because we play several darks as well, playing triple Allure of Darkness, you don't have to play this. This is just a guide, but like I've been testing the crap out of this. I've been trying a lot of different ratios, and this has been definitely by far the most consistent, the most optimal. Allure of Darkness really helps out a lot if you draw into a more Valkyrie heavy hand, but you draw on that one Darklord that you just don't need, and then Allure of Darkness is really helpful a lot of times as well. But yeah, so this is it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I'm playing double the first Darklord. This one's just a really, really good card. I absolutely love it. So what the first Darklord does is 3 dark fairy monsters. Your opponent cannot target a fairy monster you control of card effects. So he just protects your whole deck basically. And you can only use one of the following effects of the first Darklord once per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is fusion summoned using Darklord Morningstar as material, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. That's really cool. During the main phase quick effect, you can pay 1,000 life points special summon a fairy monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. So this card literally just has great synergy for this deck, just being able to grab anything because it's not restrictive to Darklord. It says fairies. It protects your fairies, and you can special summon your fairies. So that's really, really cool. I'm running 1 Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. There's been very rare occasions where I would need to go into this, but it is nice to have that just in case you have a level 4 break your hand that you're kind of restricted to. Because we play with several level 8s, it is nice to have a little rank 8 package. Dengirsu is always nice because on summon he's a non-targeting, non-destruction removal. Lancelot's really cool because he's an Omnigate that can attack directly. And then number 90 is just a monster negate, so I like him as well. I'm also running double Condemned Darklord. This card's really cool, and it's a Link 2, and it's just 2 fairy monsters. It's not dark ones, it's just 2 fairy monsters, which is, super easy to go into in this deck. You can tribute some of fairy monsters that require 2 tributes by banishing 2 monsters from your graveyard instead of tributing. It is still treated as a tribute summon, and that also applies to Erede as well, which is really, really nice. You can discard 1 card, take 1 Darklord monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You only use this effect of Condemned Darklord once per turn, and then once per turn during end phase, you gain 500 life points for each fairy monster on the field, which, of course, can be a lot. I'm running 1 Herald of the Mirage Light. This is basically pretty easy to go into. 2 monsters of the same type and attribute except tokens. When a spell, trap, card, or effect is activated, quick effect, you can send a fairy monster from your hand or graveyard. From your hand to the graveyard, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. And then if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can add up to 2 ritual, but we don't play ritual, so that's not important. But it is nice to have that spell and trap negate as well. And then for the rest, I'm just playing an IP Masquerena, the Nightmare package with Cerberus, Phoenix, and a Unicorn, a Boral Sword as well, and then of course the best fairy of them all, an Appaloosa, because this fairy deck would not be complete without an Appaloosa. And then not this one, but Appaloosa is like a $10 card now, so that is freaking amazing. My buddy was going through some of his stuff and some of his bulk, and he had an Appaloosa. I was like, did you ever think you'd say, oh, I found an Appaloosa in my bulk? Those words will never come out of your mouth. But yeah, so that is actually it for this deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I actually spent a lot of time on this one. It's an idea that kind of popped into my head one day while I was driving, and I was like, man, I really want to make this deck because it's 2 of my favorite decks combined into one. But getting the synergy just right, it was challenging. That was really fun of it being challenging. Again, like I said, if you wanted to cut down the cards, you don't have to play this 50 card deck. It is a lot, and I get that. But you do need a certain amount of cards to make the engines work with each other for sure. But you could slim down some things if you want to do that. If you want to throw in an extra Christia, you could do that. Just find the room somewhere. If you want to run hand traps as well, you could do that. But I just did not have the room to run hand traps. But you could make the room if you chose to do so. But that is it for the deck profile, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're here and you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe. I would absolutely love that. Hit the bell so you become a part of the notification team so you don't miss anything that goes on this channel. And if you watch this video and you liked it, hey, give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. It allows my videos to circulate around YouTube a little bit more, and because I'm a very small YouTuber, that really helps out. So thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.